Go ahead.
Just, I guess, another day to sort of compare what really stands out about Washington,
their
especially
speed.
that backcourt.
Their speed, their transition game is the best we've watched on film. I have pretty strong impression it's going to be the best we'll have seen at this point and maybe for a long time. They get the ball out of bounds really quick. They attack. They do a great job of playing off one pass, getting the ball thrown ahead, attacking the rim. But I think it's just they want to play fast. They want to play quick. There's not a lot of time being spent in that half court. The ball gets swung a couple times, and they're going to the rim or shooting a three. And certainly Wilcox is playing at a high level. Goss is an excellent freshman guard. We saw him a lot. He was a national level recruit. We saw him a lot during recruiting, and then he played with Stanford. So we've seen that. And their big guys are good inside. Sean Kemp Jr. is playing well. Blackwell's playing well. I mean, they're scoring a lot of points. They've had some good games. They've had some close games. And they're just an extremely fast team that's very aggressive in half-court defense as well.
I know you guys want to play a fast game as well. How do you keep from, with such a young team, keep from getting roped into playing too fast?
It's about transition defense. It's all about transition defense. I mean, you can't. It's going to be a tournament of depth because every team has got numerous players, but the depth is only as good as the consistency. Because if it's not consistent, then all you have is players, and it's got to be guys that can come in and really make an impact. So whenever you go in, you got to understand the number one premise is we've got to get back. We've got to get good shots. We've got to get on the offensive glass. There's no question about that. We've got to improve our ability to take care of the basketball. No question about that. And that leads to great transition defense too. If you're getting good shots, if you've got rebounding balance, if you've got your guys getting back on the airtime of the pass or the airtime of the shot, depending on where they're coming from. But it's not a one or two man job because college basketball right now is so much about how well you attack and transition, how many 2-on-1s you can create. And they're hard to deal with. They're hard for people to deal with when we get them, and they're hard to deal with when you've only got one guy back because the benefit of the doubt most times is going to the offensive player. And a 2-on-1, there's no primary defender. There's a secondary defender, so you're not going to draw any charges inside the block charge lane. You've got to be outside. So you can't allow those advantage breaks for the opponent, and then certainly you've got to try to get as many as you can on your side.
You mentioned Wilcox and Williams. Goss, what makes each of those guys as good as they are?
Well, I think they can all score. So, I mean, I think there's no question they can score, and they can score quick. Wilcox can score from so many different places. I don't know if I would pinpoint and say, okay, well, they just do this, they just do that. I mean, the ball gets moved, they can score. They've got great freedom. Very good off the dribble team. I think that's what I guess the common denominator I have with all their perimeter players is they're very good off the dribble. Maybe Goss has got a runner, and Wilcox might be more of a pull-up, but they're very, very good at catching it and playing off the bounce.
What are your thoughts about Nigel's 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio early in his career?
I hadn't really thought much about that. I think I'm more concerned about his runner in the lane and the fact that he can shoot. I know he's a big shot maker, and so I'm not sure that is. Wilcox is averaging 24 points, so I'm sure that he's a beneficiary of quite a few of those. It's more about what they do as a team. It's more about what they do with their own offense. I think you've got to be really locked into that. And what you can't have is a guy like Goss that ends up with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 assists and 15, 16 points. Those are bad numbers for the opposing team.
They get to the line a lot. Is that where it comes from, this being really good off the dribble?
I think so. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They get to a line a lot off the break. They're very, very good at attacking off the break. So transition defense in that sense, and again, this is where the new rules really play into it. And we've got to be able to try to exploit the same things. And we work hard at those things. There's no question that part of your fundamentals and part of your individual work is so much about right now trying to draw that contact, try to play in a straight line. And we've shown a lot of improvement in the last week in our straight line driving. I don't think there's any question about that. I think when you look at Evan Gordon, in fact, he's got 22 points in 2 games, and so much of it is in that straight line. And again, we didn't even shoot the ball from the free throw line very well the other day. So you've got to drive, you've got to have an attack mentality, but you've also got to be able to make the next pass and keep the keep the game in rotation as much as possible, and I think that's what Washington's done a really good job of to this point.
How has practice been since Stony Brook?
We didn't practice yesterday. We'd gone. We just really watched film and they lifted. So this was our first day back from that, and it was good. It was very energetic. But I mean, we just got to continue to understand that we've got to take care of the ball. I mean, but we were able to work on a lot of situational stuff today, which we'll be able to review on film, and we spent enormous time, like we usually do. If we're going to give up anything, it's going to be the prep time to make sure that the fundamentals are right. Because anytime you've got a team that's got this much upside, that's this young to the game, they've got to continue to build on those fundamentals offensively and defensively. So we spent a lot of time on that.
Just what do you expect from these guys the first time playing outside of a center?
I don't know. I want them to stay. You know, this is a hard environment to not get distracted in, and I think the bottom line is we want them to have fun. We want them to see New York. I mean, it's again why we stay where we stay. We stay right down by Times Square. I want them to experience that. They'll see an NBA game tomorrow night. They'll see the Pacers and the Knicks. But when it's, you know, like I said to them, when we sit down to watch film, we can't be 15 minutes in and now I'm locked in. You know, when we get to practice, we can't be 20 minutes in and now I've realized I'm in practice. I mean, that's the stuff you worry about with a young team, and that's where our leadership, you know, if leadership is going to be a strength for us, then it's like rebounding. It's got to travel too. And but again, I mean, we're going through that. I mean, we went through it a little bit the other day. I mean, it's very easy to get distracted and quiet, especially when things aren't going great for you. That takes there's a hard exterior you got to develop over a period of time, and that doesn't come fast. It comes when they get it. And it doesn't come as fast as we want. It comes when they can absorb it. And I think the bottom line for all of us, the bottom line for me as a coach, is to keep pushing that thoroughly and as hard as we can, but also understanding that it takes some time for them to get it themselves. But we want to go in and get established that our identity has got to travel. And the bottom line is taking care of the basketball and getting back in transition, no question.
Last question or anything?
All right, thank you.